Hello, I'm back to talk to you about a book. I am a little bit ill right now, so apologies for all the snivels, but I've got some nice honey and lemon, so hopefully that'll help. Today I'm going to be talking about The Shore by Sara Taylor. This was her debut novel, published by William Heinemann earlier this year. I'm not going to lie, I saw the publisher post a picture of the cover on Twitter and I was like, I just don't care what it's about. I'm buying that book. And I did. It's taken me about 6 weeks to read it, mostly because so much is happening in my life I haven't had time to like sit down and read it. But it is a book that favours that sort of reading experience because it's actually more of a collection of short stories than a full-on novel. It takes place on these islands off the east coast of Virginia, sort of secluded communities, and each chapter jumps all over time between 1876 and I think 2143 or something like that, and we see a whole host of different characters, mostly surrounding these two distantly related families. There's a handy family tree at the beginning with everybody's date of birth, so you can kind of see the chapter, see what year it is, and try and find out how that fits into this family. Sometimes that was really distracting actually, because I wanted so hard to see the overarching story that I was like, I must remember every character and how they fit into this grid, and eventually that knowledge will become useful. And although it does lead into a greater story arc by the end, it's not essential to like think about it too hard. So yeah, 13 chapters, jumps through time, different characters, although they do interlock. I think there are only 2 chapters that are written from the perspective of the same person, but they all deal with different things as well. It's mostly sort of things like the quest for a simple, free life, but there's a lot of poverty, there's a lot of like sexual and domestic violence, be warned about that. But the thing they do all have in common is everyone's relationship to the environment, the shore, and why they're there and why they got there, if they want to leave, etc. And I really liked it by the end. I've written in my notes, empathy, not sympathy. And I think that's just because I didn't feel like I couldn't put myself in any of these characters' shoes, literally, because they have just such different values to what I value. And I think that's rooted a lot in like where they are, the shore, where it's just like chicken factories to work at, or you can work in like the local store, or you can farm the field in the older times. And I don't think there's anything in me that would really sustain myself in that environment, because I'm used to sort of like not only like the urban world, but also like constant connectivity to everybody through the internet and stuff like that. So I couldn't really relate to these characters that sort of living their whole life there just sort of simply and quietly, but I did really appreciate it. The writing is beautiful, and every chapter, every perspective has a sort of distinct style, and I really enjoyed how the short stories kind of combined into this greater story by the end. I thought it was a perfect balance of trying to be distinct stories but also having this sort of collectiveness about them. The main thing I want to talk about The Shore is the idea of environment as character. The environment, much like the book, is very sort of quiet but very powerful. It's never really described that explicitly, but it's really put forth in every single character's descriptions, which really gave you this in-depth, clear look at it, because you saw a variety of characters seeing it from different perspectives. Some people seeing it as freedom, some people with sorrow, some people see it with reverence, some people feel like it's a jail. And because we see it over a large amount of time, and there are also different communities within it that have different levels of prosperity over time, we really see like the whole story of the shore and how everybody sort of relates to it at different times. I think that like the ocean and just general nature, it cuts out all the shit. It cuts out all of the shit of life. Like I spend a lot of my time thinking about like how to get across London, or silly shit like water bills and like how much charge my phone has and rubbish like that is just not intrinsic to life. And I think being in a place where it's just like completely natural, it makes you so much more introspective, and it's kind of just like how you relate to where you are and the people that surround you, and not really just like the things that happen in life. I kind of envy that like depth of a relationship with environment that all these characters have in these books, because although like I don't think a single familial situation is positive, it's all sort of poverty, death, destruction, but they all have one thing in common, and that is this extreme, full, wholesome tie to the land around them. And that I think is what comes off in this book more than any sort of commentary on poverty or family. Really just sort of like a sense of home, and the idea of like relying on land and trusting your environment. It makes me want to go and just hike along some coastal paths for a while and think about the world and the sky and the earth and the people I care about. So this was The Shore by Sara Taylor. I thought it was really lovely, a really sort of quiet long read. I think it'd be the sort of thing that'd be good to have on the go as another novel, maybe. Something I really think had value for being consumed over a longer period of time. I did forget to mention earlier, there is a little bit of magical realism in this, which was unexpected and very welcome. So if you like that as well, pick up this book. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I will see you hopefully soon for another one. Bye.